Hello everyone, I'm back with one final video for the day. We're going to kind of do white hair. It's going to be following the same principles as we've been doing on the last couple white videos, where it's, not a true white, but it's just getting that look by being very sparing with the colors that we're using. So I am going to start this video. I'm using some angels from the newest Kraftin Kimmie stamps release, and this is Aurelia, and I have her stamped on Copic X-Press It cardstock with Memento Tuxedo Black ink. And I'm going to start with E50. E50 is a really nice base for a lot of light hair color combinations, and I chose to have the directionality of the light is coming from the left on this one because, she's facing it, and I tend to do that a lot. So I'm keeping, my darkest shaded areas opposite that. And we're just hinting, because we still want it to read as a very light, kind of blondie red on little Aurelia here. So I'm not putting much color down at all. Now I'm going to go to my YR000 and just following what I just did, putting down even less than I did of the E50. Hitting the tips of her bangs and then back here on her hair. It's like the whiter you want the hair to look, the less color you lay down on your image. And then my YR01 is going to actually be our darkest color on this hair that we're doing. And I kind of followed, you could see on her dress, it's the same thing. I just used a combination of R000 and R11 with a bunch of blender pen. You can take any color combination, any light color combination, because it still reads as kind of a white gown. The wings are using the E40, E41, and 0 combination that we used on the first video. And it's just, don't put down a lot of color, use a lot of blender pen, and leave a lot of that cardstock showing white. Now I'm just working my way back down to the YR000. And the E50. Not putting much on at all. Now we're going to finish it off with our blender pen, just on these highlight areas where we really want it to be nice and white. Okay. And that's about all we're going to do. I am going to let that dry, and we'll see if we need to come back and give it a couple more highlights. So while we're letting that one dry, I'm going to move on to Celestina, and we are going to use blues with her for her hair, and the blender pen, of course. So I'm going to start with the B000, and she's got the light coming in from the right, especially because she's got the little star there. So all my color and all the shading is going to start opposite that on the back side of her hair here. And this is just showing you that this is going to give her a cooler tone to her hair than the one we just did that has kind of the oranges. But anything can be made to look kind of white, have a white cast to it. Okay, to our B000. And we're just kind of creating the shadows with this as we get darker You don't want to put too much on, otherwise it's going to start looking like blue hair, which is fine too, you know, if that's, you know, what you're wanting. But if you want to keep it more on the white side, don't put much of the color down. Then our darkest for this one, I chose to go with a B32. And it's really going to give us a contrast, so, you know, I'm not using much of it at all. It's just going to be in those deepest little crevices and shaded areas. But it'll give us a nice contrast to blend. Okay. Work my way back down to the 000. And on her dress, it's the same thing. I did the combination of BV quadruple 0 and BV20 and a lot of blender pen, and it's still, you can see it still reads as kind of a white gown. Okay, now my trusty blender pen on those widest areas. Just going to kind of lighten everything up that we just did. Put it, push it all around back into those darker areas that we want it. Okay. Let that dry, and we'll see how it is in a minute. While we're letting that dry, we're going to finish it off with Serafina. She's my favorite of the new release. She's so cute. And we're going to be doing a combination, kind of a blonde, really, really light blonde on her. So I'm going to start with my Y quadruple 0. And I have the light coming in from the right on her. And she's got all these little waves down here. And I used the E81 on her gown. So just like from that first video we did today, you can see it in action again, the E40, 41 on the wings and on the little doves. Okay. Now we're going to go to the Y triple 0. Get a little bit in there. Get that shadowed area down here. Because that's kind of all. Her body would be blocking a lot of it. Again, trying to put as little color down as I can. Then the E50. This is just going to make it, tone it down a bit so it's not so yellow. It's going to make it look a little bit more natural as hair. Get back here. Back behind her face. Okay. Now I'm going to work my way back down with the Y triple. And yeah, we'll hit it with a little bit of the quadruple too. Pull a little bit more color here, but not much. I'm getting a little dark as it is. Okay, so now go to my blender pen. Hit these highlighted areas where we left it nice and white to begin with, where the hair kind of waves out. Got a nice wave there going, wave there, and then we'll just get here. Okay. So now we're going to let that dry and go back to our first gal. See how she's looking. Not too bad. I'm going to take my E50 and just knock it a little bit darker back here. Just a bit. But other than that, to keep it kind of having that white-ish look, that's all I'm going to add to her. So she's going to be done. And you can see her there. And now we'll check out Celestina. And I am not going to do anything to that hair. That is a nice blue-white hair. I'm not going to add anything to it. She looks good. That didn't give us much time to dry for this little gal, but let's see how she's doing. I think the only thing I would do on her is take my E50 back here in this really shaded area because her body's blocking it back there. Just get a little bit more in there. A little bit more Y triple. Okay. And then the blender pen. Okay. And I'm going to call her good as well. Like I said, if you want it kind of a whitish hair, whatever colors you're deciding to use with it, whether it's light color combinations, or if you decide to go with grays, the C's or W's, the less color you put on, the more white the hair is going to appear. So you can kind of see all three of our little gals lined up there. They definitely have color to their hair. It's not a white, but it's going to read as very light, very pale hair, which is, if you want, maybe I'll do another one where you do kind of a grayish white hair a little bit later. But that is going to be it for today. I hope you found that helpful, and thanks for watching.